Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome to Evening Devotion. Tonight we're going to be reading out of Song of Solomon 5:11. His head is as the most fine gold. His locks are bushy and black as a raven. Let's go there. That's the verse. Let's go up a few. Let's go up to verse 7. The watchmen who went about the city found me. They struck me. They wounded me. The keepers of the walls took my veil away from me. This is a kind of rough treatment. I charge you, O daughters of Jerusalem. There's that phrase again, daughters of Jerusalem. If you find my beloved, that you tell him I am lovesick. So who would be the daughters of Jerusalem? She's talking to watchmen. Why would she mention daughters of Jerusalem? Interesting. What is your beloved more than another beloved? O fairest among women. Who's the fairest among women? That phrase is a reference elsewhere in the Bible, Old Testament, several times, to a specific nation. What is your beloved more than another beloved, that you so charge us? What makes him special? Indeed. Again, the Song of Solomon is an interesting love story, but it's a love story with hidden messages. The bride praises her beloved. My beloved is white and ruddy, chief among 10,000. So she's talking about Jesus here, then obviously Jesus isn't a black guy. Could be talking about David. David was white and ruddy. Ruddy meaning he has a darker skin, tanned, and he's got rugged exterior. Rugged features. His head is like the finest gold. His locks are wavy and black as a raven. His eyes are like doves by the rivers of waters, washed with milk and fitly set. His cheeks, fitly set, meaning they're hard set eyes, much like what John saw in the book of Revelation when Jesus appeared to him. His cheeks are like the bed of spices, banks of scented herbs. His lips are lilies dripping liquid myrrh. His hands are rods of gold set with beryl. His body is carved ivory inlaid with sapphires. Now, there's no way that guy was in that good a shape. Again, we're dealing with a description here that isn't describing an individual, but it's a description used to describe an individual with other references tied to it. These different colors of things, these different myrrh and stuff like that's all stuff used in heaven. That's all stuff mentioned about heaven. Beryl and what was the other one? Let's see here. So gold, beryl, carved ivory and all that stuff. Sapphires, that's all stones that are mentioned in heaven. His legs are pillars of marble set on bases of fine gold. His countenance is like Lebanon, excellent as the cedars. So the description is very colorful, very specific, and it's definitely something you don't use to describe a human. Nobody talked like that back then. Even back then, nobody talked like that. So when you know that, you're like, okay, are they trying to come up with some kind of poetry for this? Or are there hidden messages in this? Because when you read that, you're like, why is this book in the Bible? What does this have to do with anything? But then you start to recognize daughters of Jerusalem, white and ruddy, marble, sapphire, beryl. You start to see all these things like, oh, wait a minute. That's mentioned in the book of Revelation. Well, that's also mentioned over here in this. That's also mentioned over here in that. You start to see that this kind of Song of Solomon, to me, kind of acts like a legend that you can use to reference other sayings and other series of words or groupings of words and go, what is that referring to? And then you end up decoding it and finding out there's a much deeper message hidden within it. It's a very intense study. I can't finish it. Comparisons all fail to set forth the Lord Jesus, but the spouse uses the best within her reach. He knows this is talking about Jesus. It's Solomon and this Shulamite girl, but it's between Jesus and the church. But the spouse uses the best within her reach. By the head of Jesus, we may understand his deity, for the head of Christ is God. And then the ingot of purest gold is the best conceivable metaphor but all too poor to describe one so precious, so pure, so dear, so glorious. Jesus is not a grain of gold, but a vast globe of it, a priceless mass of treasure such as earth and heaven cannot excel. The creatures are mere iron and clay. They all shall perish like wood, hay, and stubble, but the ever-living head of the creation of God shall shine on forever and ever. In him is no mixture, nor smallest taint of alloy. He is forever infinitely holy and altogether divine. The bushy locks depict his manly vigor. There is nothing effeminate in our beloved. He is the manliest of men, bold as a lion, laborious as an ox, swift as an eagle. Every conceivable and inconceivable beauty is to be found in him, though once he was despised and rejected of men. His head the finest gold, with a secret sweet perfume. His curled locks hang all as black as any raven's plume. The glory of his head is not shorn away. He is eternally crowned with peerless majesty. The black hair indicates youthful freshness, for Jesus has the dew of his youth upon him. Others grow languid with age, but he is forever a priest, as was Melchizedek. Others come and go. That's another interesting thing we're going to learn more about when we get there, is who was Melchizedek and what did this have to do with this. There's something very, very interesting, and we don't know enough about the line of Melchizedek, because the line of Melchizedek was an important line. Something very interesting is going on here. Others come and go. Well, I mean, the line of Melchizedek is within the line of Jesus, so. Others come and go, but he abides as God upon the throne, world without end. We will behold him tonight and adore him. Angels are gazing upon him. His redeemed must not turn away their eyes from him. Where else is there such a beloved? Oh, for an hour's fellowship with him. Away, ye intruding cares. Jesus draws me and I run after him. Away distractions that come every single day. Away all of the naysayers that would seek to cause us to not admire him for who he is. He is Jesus Christ. There is no beauty like his. There is no majesty like his. There is no kingship like his. Because he did something no one else could do. Saved all of creation. And he did it with a perfect sacrifice. You don't get much more beautiful than that. In fact, you can't get more beautiful than that. Greater love has no man than this, that a man lay his life down for his friends. The Lord did that when we were his enemies. Those same people that escorted him into the city during his triumphal entry were the same people calling for his crucifixion, yet he died for them too. The man that was released, Barabbas Bar Jesus, that was his full name, he died for him too. He died to pay the debt for everybody's sin. Now, whether we receive that free gift is a different story. But that debt, that payment, was complete. It is finished. Those last words, those 3 words, it is finished. The Greek, I think it was Hebrew, it might have been Greek or Aramaic, tetelestai. That word meant there's nothing more left to do. It's done. Finished. Finito. We're just going to let everything wind down and all the prophecies be fulfilled. Everything that needed to be done is done. There's nothing else that needs to be done. People keep coming up with these things because they're trying to justify, to help them understand what's going on and to put a fine point on it. People need something to touch. They need something tangible in order to help their faith. They can't just believe. Just believe. Just believe. See him for who he is. In this word which speaks of him, the volume of the book speaks of him. All we got to do is look at it, and we get a picture of him. You don't need a picture on a wall. You don't need to see one with your eyes. It's a spiritual understanding. All of this is a spiritual understanding. We see him for who he is by reading his word, and the Spirit helps us see and understand. There's nothing special that we need to do. There's no special gifts that we need. People are so hyper-focused on things that really don't matter. You don't need a dream or vision. You don't need a prophetic word. You don't need special gifts. You don't need any of that. All you need is an understanding of Jesus Christ died to pay the debt for me on the cross. That's his beauty. That's his glory. As the only Son of God. Glorified. And there's a time coming when he's going to return for his people. In fact, the Bible specifically says in the book of Hebrews, he will return a second time for those watching for him. No one else. Those watching for him. Who's watching for him? The people that are setting dates, the people that are constantly going from date to date to date to date to date, on the emotional roller coaster, or those who are patiently and faithfully waiting for their Lord, living out their lives, doing the things they were given to do, and operating within the capacity they were given, and praying and waiting on the Lord, worshiping him in their hearts, in the Spirit, and loving and having faith, loving the people around them and having faith. Those are the ones watching. Those are the ones waiting. Those are the ones who are faithfully in patient endurance, which is what we were commanded to do. So let us do what he told us to do, because you cannot believe the beauty of what you are about to see when you see him. And it will be beyond comprehension. But when we get that new body, then we will see, then we will know, then we will understand. So let us walk in that. Let us move about our life with that thought, that encouragement. I'm going to get to see my Lord in his glory. No one else is going to get to see that. Well, until such time as his second return, but you don't want to be on the receiving end of that one. You want to be behind him, riding in, seeing the look on everybody's faces. If you are not saved and someone is showing you this video, it is important that you take the time just to sit down and consider the options. You don't have to make a decision now, although I'd recommend you don't take too much more time because there's not much left. Your life can be taken from you at any time. It may be your time at any time. But sit down and look at the scriptures, read them, and at least consider it. Because you have nothing to lose, literally nothing to lose. But you have eternity to gain. And he's worth it. He is worth it. He's that beautiful. So beautiful as to save us who didn't deserve saving. Thank you all for listening. Thank you for watching. Thank you for praying with me. Thank you for joining me on this wonderful ride we've been on for creeping up on 4 years now. I love you all very much. I thank you all for sharing these with people, using these videos to help evangelize, to help others see. I don't need any credit, nor do I want any credit. Give God the glory. Give Jesus Christ the glory. Because if we're getting people in the door, in the sheepfold with this stuff, and we're working together with it, then it is a multifold ministry in the Holy Spirit. Thank God we have the ability to do that. And thank God he is using us to do that. I am the face and the voice. We are all a part of this. You guys that use this content, you're all a part of this ministry too. One plants, one waters, God provides the increase. You're all part of this too. And it's the Lord's doing. It's the Lord's work. And how amazing he does something like this in the most unassuming situations. See, when we get to heaven, people are going to see the reality of how the Lord works and what he's been doing. And that it is far different than what they thought. Because it's those little tiny ministries that impact people more. The ones nobody knows about, those are the ones who are going to be the most important. Because those are the ones who are sticking to the truth, the simple childlike understanding of faith, and walking in patience and waiting with love, with faith, in hope, and watching for him, and just trying to help others see it, and encourage the brethren too. Thank you all for watching. I'll see you in the next one.